Hey guys, how's it going? Another Friday, another Q&A session. All right, let's get this party rolling out of the station. Make sure we have everything. Make sure, can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Okay. So today I have a couple things. And let me know if you guys have some questions. I'm going to start it out by answering your questions if you have any. And then we'll get into, I wanted to talk to you guys about UVs in Maya and what you can do, because you can get a student version of Maya that's free, and you can start messing with the UVs in there. And I was just going to show you a couple of tips and tricks. It's kind of like advanced UVs in Maya a little bit. Yeah, so sound and video is good? Awesome. All right. Pizza boxes. And then we have, yeah, so if you guys have any questions before we start, please let me know. And it's like a 20-second delay, so it's going to be a minute. All right. And is my sound synced with my mouth this time? I think I messed with it, so hopefully it changed it so it works now. All right. Cool, cool. All right. It's crazy to see myself 20 seconds later asking the question. I just have to sit here. Oh yeah, Corinne, I saw your question. I have a Microsoft Surface. I have one. I think it's last year's version, and I'm sorry I have not installed ZBrush on it. So I will. I have an extra license available, so I will install it on there and see how it works for me, and then I'll give you a feedback. Have you bought a Surface yet? Do you have one, or are you just wondering how it works? Okay. Awesome. Yay, we are all in sync. All right, so yeah, Corinne, I know people have had success with the Wacom Studio Pro, the mobile studio. I have an old version of it. It's like a Wacom Companion or something like that. It's called. I don't even know where it is in my studio, but I have an old one, and ZBrush worked great on that because it was essentially like a Windows machine and with Wacom technology. But as far as the Microsoft Surface, I thought I installed it on there once, but I think I might have uninstalled it. Oh, you have it, Jason? So how do you, oh, you have a 3. So how do you set up your hotkeys, Jace? Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today, by the way. Love it, love it. You can't move around with a pen. The right-clicking is weird. Oh, but you're talking about the Microsoft pen, right? The weird pen that it comes with. I don't know. I'm not sure how to set it up. So, or you just use the keyboard? Okay, but for right-click navigation, you should set the front button to right-click. And then just to use the keyboard as hotkeys. But anyway, okay, I'll mess with it and get back to you, or you can talk to Jason about it some more. Okay. Awesome. So I have some good news. I finished the hand lesson that I was telling you guys about. I'm just editing it right now. I'm almost done with it. And then I want to build a student challenge around it because I want you guys to get better at hands. So I'm almost done. I've done it. I've recorded it the live streaming way, like this, but without people watching me. So I'm kind of struggling with it a little bit because when I do it this way, it stretches the lesson out, but I get more information in there. So it's a 45-minute lesson, and the scripted ones with slideshows, they're usually like 10 to 15 minutes. So it's like more information. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just like, Is it working? Like, did you guys like the ZRemesher lesson that I launched or that I released a couple weeks ago or last week? I can't remember. Did you like that style, or do you prefer the scripted slide style? I'm just kind of curious what you guys like. I think the scripted slide style works really well for the beginning, you know, getting to know ZBrush and stuff like that. But I think the live version, like the Wednesday student-only live streams, I think that works well if you're following me along and building a character that way. So anyway, hey Donna, I got your email. Thank you very much. So Donna's gracefully been giving us timestamps on all of the live streaming episodes. So I cannot thank you enough. It's super, super helpful. It's going to be helpful to a ton of students. So you like them both? Okay. The scripted for reference, right. Like if I'm going through like technical menus and things in ZBrush, it's nice to reference back to when you have a script and you have the text underneath it. Yeah, I agree. It's very, it's nice to go back. I'm going to include the images that I include in the lesson down below so you can reference back to those. I've commissioned a few concept artists to draw me some hands, which are really cool. So I will, I'll put those in there for you guys as well. I'm pretty excited about it. It's turning out well. This is going to be the first lesson released to you guys from the stylized anatomy section. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty good. Okay, so let's go over to, whoa, why aren't you showing my Maya? All right, well, we have a black screen. Come on, don't do this to me. OBS. Desktop. Hold on, I might have to add a new source. Give me a second here. It's black. Great. Great, great, great. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. Hogarth hands. Yep. So I'll tell you, I'm not sure how to say your name. Sorry. You can find all of the previous Q&A sessions and all the previous student live only sessions or live student only sessions in the community. If you go to the community, I don't know what the heck is going on with my screen. Why can't you share the screen? Yeah, OBS is being a pain in the butt. Pain in the OBS. Come on. I don't know what's going on. It's just black. Look at that. Black. Why? Where? My desktop. Gosh, sorry guys. It does this every once in a while and I don't understand it. It was just working like 2 seconds ago. Anyway, to find those other those older lessons, you just go in the community and go to topics. At the very top, you can see topics, and you can find the topic that says student only live stream, and all the past episodes are in there. And you can go to the Q&A sessions, and all the past episodes are in there. And I'm putting together a new section that's going to list out with Scott's help. He's helping me out. We're going to be listing all of the live sessions, including the ones that I've done for Pixelogic. So they'll be all in a nice organized place for you guys to find them all and browse through them all. So, yeah, Sean, I just added a brand new scene, or a brand new, gosh, hang on. Hold on for a second. I'm just going to make a temp one. If I go to black screen without sound for a second, just because I'm trying to make a new scene inside of OBS, just temporarily. All right. Can you guys hear me? I got it working for a second. Looks like it's working. Okay, so let me just get my my webcam going here. Can you see it? This is ZBrush. Window capture. Anyway, well, we'll just do it so you can't, with you not being able to see me. But I need to adjust this full screen so it fits. Hold on. Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, come on. There we go. OBS is being so strange today. Okay. Okay, there we go. So, this, can you guys see this gray square down here? Oh, it's still Maya? That's weird. It's not showing ZBrush? Okay, well, this is ZBrush. Are you guys, this is Daniel's model in ZBrush, but you guys can see Maya and not ZBrush? Okay. Well, let me know if what you guys see. It's ZBrush. Okay, great, great. So I'm gonna pop over to Maya. This is Maya. Okay. So I'm gonna be invisible for a bit while we talk about this. All right. Okay. So this is Lorenzo's model, and this is his low resolution model. He's done a fantastic job. Lorenzo, are you here? I haven't seen you pipe up yet. So anyway, he's done a fantastic job. I want to kind of scoot in here and show you guys how well of a job he did with his topology. Yeah, this is really nice, really nice. The eyebrows are floating, and that's kind of a choice. You can do either way. You can either stitch them in or have them floating. It doesn't matter. It depends on who's going to be rigging it, if they want it this way or not. And typically when I do eyebrows that are floating like this, I try to match them up with the spans that are underneath the head, because these eyebrows have to be rigged to the brow underneath, and the points have to be they have to be weighted to those bones underneath, if that makes sense. And inside a game engine, you don't get away with very many bones to play with. Like, you might have 2 eyelid bones on the top, 2 on the bottom, but typically there's just 1, and there's 1 to move the eyeball around, and then maybe 1, 2, or 3 to move the eyebrows around, or more if it's a lead character. And sometimes they will make a cinematic model that has more fidelity in the bones. So I will typically stitch eyebrows in so the rigging is easier to rig, if that makes sense. Because trying to assign all of these points to a bone that will move at the same time as the brow is it's going to be kind of difficult. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, I think, Corinne, I think I have a Surface 3, by the way. Okay, so, but you'll also notice that Lorenzo's put nice rings around the eyes, which is fantastic. That is what you want. Rings around the mouth that start behind the nostril. That is great. That is where your smile will come from. When he smiles, it'll create a nice smile line in here. And then this is a U-turn loop around the Adam's apple, which is fantastic. And the lines going across the neck are working really well. You want it to be kind of like an accordion, because when the bones get in there and they start to bend his head and twist his head, you don't want many triangles in here, and you don't want the loops going all different ways. You want them to be parallel. Like I say in the workshop, you want it to look like a dryer hose. You guys don't know what a dryer hose looks like? So it's like the spans go across in an even way. Okay, these could probably be a little more even. They're a little all over the place, but it's pretty straight, pretty good. Okay, and then these shoulders, it looks like he's gonna just have his arms down most of the time. So these shoulders, the way they're built, they might pose a problem if he was to raise his arms over his head, because there's so much mass right here above the shoulders that if he was going to do like a ledge hang or something, not that this guy's going to be hanging off of ledges, but if he was to do that, this might get all crumpled up. Like, raise your hand above your head and then feel your shoulder and feel how much space is right there. Your shoulder muscle is going up to touch your head. So all of this stuff right here is going to be bunched up next to his head and just kind of get crinkled. Okay, and that will all come in to, you'll see it when you go to test the pose. Okay. They are bent just near the armpit. So I guess I don't understand that one. Sorry, Donna. But this is good because the lats are pushing the arms out. But yeah, so again with the dryer hose comparison, this is pretty good as far as that goes. But these go straight across, making this this deltoid lump right here. So anyway, I don't know that I would have done it this way, but maybe. Yeah, I'd have to see what the rig would feel like after I got that going. Okay, then the fingers are really nicely done. He's added some knuckle cuts, which they help with low resolution polys bending the fingers right here like that. James, yep, these hot dog fingers. There you go. So yeah, these are all really, really good. Now, as far as what to stitch and what not to stitch, this is good because the shirt is stitched to the shoulders. If this was overlapping, it might pose a problem. And then the collar is actually flipped and it's built in, and that's good. That's how it should be. And I don't think the neck is stitched down in there, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be because there's enough overlap that it doesn't matter. But some companies might be sticklers about that. As far as like stitching the neck to the clothes, some companies want it, others don't. It just depends on what they want. And then this is good because this is kind of a floppy holster. That's what I mean by that. It's gonna flop around when he's running around, right? It's gonna move and bounce when he's running around. So that is what you want, okay? But as far as these straps, this buckle and these go, this is stitched in right here, which is good, but this is not. And it should be okay because it's not around a joint, like the knee joint, but this might pose a problem around the hips. See how the lines are kind of going where the hips are, but the lines on the strap are straight. You kind of want the lines on the strap to be diagonal right here. So when he moves and runs, it will pinch right there like it should, if that makes sense. So is there a standard in the game industry for a low poly character, or is it based on each studio's preference? So the standard is stitched. You want to stitch it together, but the more we get into the next gen consoles and you get more polygons and Z buffering, the reason you want to stitch it is because of Z buffering. And what is Z buffering? That just means there's something in front of something else and the camera doesn't know which one to draw first, so it will draw both at the same time and cause a flicker. That's Z buffering. Kind of, it doesn't know what to do. So what you want to look out for is typically you'll stitch it in. But with the new consoles and the new PC games, Z buffering is less of an issue, so you can break stuff up more and you don't have to sew it in as much, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm saying now this matters less. That's kind of why when I built Kate, I didn't stitch some of those belts in, because they would stretch and move as she would walk. But I could have stitched those in, and I probably should have, but it just depends. That part depends on the studio. You would ask the rigging department, hey, do you want these stitched in? And usually when you stitch something in, that's a time when you can use triangles to your discretion. You can use a ton of triangles when it comes to that, because you're going to. You want to have a grid as much as possible, like nice even squares as much as possible, until something lays over top of something else, like a bandolier that's going diagonally across the chest or something. So if he had a bandolier going down across here, you would still keep the grid happening on the shirt, but as soon as the bandolier lays across there and you go to stitch it in, that's when you would add triangles, and you would just cut in the different the belt. You'd stitch it in using triangles. Does that make sense? I wish I had an example I could show you. But he's done some of that down here, and you can add triangles to emphasize certain areas, like Lorenzo has done here, like certain like folds and things in the knees. Sometimes they'll cause problems, sometimes they won't. If you want, because what you can't see is that every single face is actually made up of 2 triangles, no matter what. So the model is going to get triangulated upon import into the game engine anyway. So triangles don't really matter on your low resolution mesh, on your low resolution game mesh. The less, or the fewer the better, because then it makes your model really clean, but the triangles are not the devil. They're only the devil if you're trying to sculpt on that mesh and you're trying to subdivide it, because triangles and subdivision levels don't really play nice together, okay? So that's why Z-remeshed meshes are all quads no matter what. But when it comes to game models, triangles can be used to your discretion. So if that makes sense. Yes, I'm going to cover hand topology during that hand, not during the first lesson. I'm going to have 2. So the first lesson is how to build a hand and the proportions and all that kind of stuff. The second lesson is how to retopologize it and how to pose it. So I'm going to cover both of those. Okay, so does that make sense as far as stitching? Like these shoes going up into these pants, those are just fine. You don't have to stitch them together. But for example, Blizzard had me stitch the shirt to behind the belt, and then, which is the pants. I had to stitch the shirt to the pants and have all of the spans match all the way around. And I had to stitch just certain things together, but not everything. They didn't have me stitch everything together, just specific things they wanted to be watertight. And the reason, like I said during Wednesday's live student stream, is the reason you want things watertight is because it makes it easier to, 1, bake the maps, and 2, print, if you're going to print him out in 3D. So you want to try and stay as watertight as possible. So with this guy, if you're going to 3D print this guy, this may pose a problem, this area right here. It might. Okay? Yeah, all game engines will triangulate the models. I don't know of a game engine that doesn't. It will just get triangulated. If you've ever seen the... Here, let me pull it up really quick. All right. If you've ever gone and looked at... So I have a Pinterest page. You guys have probably all seen it. And I have a board that is called Topology. So if I go to my boards... So it's just, 3D Character Workshop. Well, it's Shane Olson Art is the board. And I have links to it in the workshop. So if you go to boards and then you go to, where is it? Topology flow, right here. Okay, inside here, I found a whole bunch of Overwatch characters and their topology, and they're displayed in triangles. Some of them are larger than others. Excuse me. So you can go through and look at all these and see the topology on here. Let me see if it takes us to there. There we go. Oh, come on. There we go. So like Reapers, wireframes, they're all triangles. But when this guy was built, when he was built in his low poly, he was all quads. Well, mostly quads. Where you would do triangles is in areas like this, you know, some tight areas down in here, and that kind of stuff. So, yep, the Pushing Points workbook is great. Yeah, so like you said, most of them do. Most game engines will triangulate. Honestly, like I said, I don't know of a game engine that doesn't. So you can go through and look at all these. They're pretty interesting to check out. It's interesting how low they are. And you can kind of visualize the quads in there, but you can see that they have triangles too. Like that's not going to be a quad, right? So yeah, anyway, take a look at that and you can kind of understand the density, how there are fewer polygons spread out over hard surfaces, something that's not going to bend and deform much. You can make pretty big polygons across there, stuff like that. But things that are going to wave in the breeze, you're going to want a lot of them so it can bend and be rigged and move around like that, if that makes sense. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys about UVs today, though, and underneath I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Maya, but you can do all your UVs inside of, well, honestly, anywhere you want. And let's see, I can go back to full screen. Hi, I'm still here. So you can do your UVs anywhere you want. I teach you how to do your UV oh my gosh, I can't talk today. I teach you guys how to do your UVs inside of 3D Coat because it's easy and the unwrapping algorithm is super duper nice, right? So you can get everything unwrapped in there right away, and it's nice. It's really nice to cut in your UV seams and unwrap everything. Really nice. But when it comes to organizing UVs, and I think Sean Burke, you know a little bit more than I do about organizing UVs by now than I do. I struggle with organizing my UVs in 3D Coat a little bit, just because it's a little unfamiliar territory to me. So I like to bring my UVs and my objects into Maya or something like it to reorganize and relay out my UVs and fit them in there. Now, the organizational stuff that 3D Coat gives you, just the packing is what it's called, the UV packing, it's just fine and it works for most things. But when you get into a production situation, they might want cleaner, tighter UVs, okay? Like Blizzard, they wanted the UVs to be tighter and maybe shared and stacked and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you how to do some of that stuff. Hey, what's up, Jose? Let's see. So that'd be awesome, Sean. Yeah, maybe you can watch this, Sean, and see if you can do some of this stuff in 3D Coat that I'm not aware of. Mainly, it's straightening UVs. So I've taken this model, and his UVs were laid out already better, and I've kind of messed them up because I wanted to make sure that I remembered how to do it before I went live with this, and I'm like, I better make sure that I remember where all the hotkeys are. Okay, so this is the UV editor, and it's just under the poly modeling tab, and it's this button right here. This is the UV editor, and what we can do is we can kind of hover over here, and we can dock it right there. Okay, and then underneath this tools menu is a UV toolkit, and it's actually pushed it up. Oh, you guys can't see my second screen. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Again. Okay, so let me go back. What I was going to say is so it's under poly modeling, and then it's yeah, you guys are all going to tell me that you can't see, but thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so underneath poly modeling, and then you go underneath this button right here. This is the UV editor. Then what you can do is you can hover it. I'm going to do it with the toolkit, but what you can do is go to the toolkit right here and see how it says hide UV toolkit. It's because it's showing, but I'm going to show it, and it's up on my second screen. Okay, so I'm pulling it down here, this is the UV toolkit, and it's a lot like the modeling toolkit. But I'm actually gonna, so the modeling toolkit's right here. If you click up on this hammer, this is the modeling toolkit, and everybody liked it so much they made a UV toolkit based off of that. And you can dock that as well, and you just kind of hover it. See how the blue line appears? You can just let go, and you can dock it right in the middle. So I have my scene over here, my UV toolkit right here, and my UVs right here. Okay, so then I can move all this around. And like I said, I've been messing with Lorenzo's UVs. So sorry, Lorenzo, I was just kind of messing around. But I wanted to specifically show you guys some of this stuff with the UV toolkit. Okay, so in here, you can, what you do is if you hold down, hold on a second. If you hold down right click, you can just go over here to UVs, okay? And you can double click on any of these. These are called UV islands. You can double click on them, and then you can use your, I don't know why it did that. Okay, it's, for some reason it's clicking, oh, I know why, because it's this strap. See this strap right here? He must have some of this stuff stitched, or it's in, looks like it's symmetrical. So let me turn symmetry off really quick. I think I can do it over here. Symmetry off. No symmetry. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, so it was trying to do symmetry in world space, and it was grabbing some of the UV points from over there. Yeah, man. Yeah, we're technical idiots today, or I am. Okay, so now I can double click on any of these, and you can see it's the same as ZBrush. It's W is move, E is rotate, and R is scale. And I can use those functionalities on any of these UV islands to move them around like this. And you can see this main cross right in the middle. This is called 0, 0 UV space right here. That's like, it's almost like the center of the world, but it's the center of the UV space. And then over here is 1, 1. So this one right here, because it's 1 up on the Y and 1 over on the X. So that's 1, 1. And this is 0 on the Y, 0 on the X, so that's 0, 0. Okay, so, and that's called a quadrant. That's a UV quadrant. So all of these UVs are sitting in a secondary quadrant, and these ones are also sitting in another quadrant that's above. So when I say you need to have everything on a 4K UV quadrant, or UV space, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everything packed into one quadrant, and that is how that's how I did the skin for Overwatch. They wanted everything in one quadrant, except for they wanted the weapon in its own thing. And then sometimes if a character has like shared something, like shared eyeballs, or something that you are sharing between different characters, they may ask you to put those on different texture spaces. Okay, it's called a texture set inside of Maya. Let's see. Retopo is different than UVs, and Retopo comes before UVs. Yeah, you're right, Mark. So you have to do retopology, which is essentially rebuilding your character in low resolution mesh, and like rebuilding it, like drawing quads on top. I go over that in the workshop. Okay. And you're saying, is there a benefit for having all the UVs in one quadrant? Yes. So the benefit, well, let me go back. So the benefit in games is that it uses less memory, and it loads the entire character in at once. So if you have multiple UV quadrants or UV sets, texture sets, or material sets, it will have to load each one of those separately. So if you have it in one 4K map, the entire character, is just better organizationally, and it's better cost-wise. They always refer to cost in gaming, and what cost means is how much memory it takes up and how much writing into memory it takes. So bringing that character into the engine. Every time you, like, say you go around a corner as a character and you have to load all these enemies on the scene, on the screen at once. If all of those enemies had all these different textures on all these different quadrants, they'd have to pull all of those in from the hard drive, right? And it would take longer to load. So to speed up load times, you want to put it all on one map, okay? If that makes sense. Also, what am I trying to say? That it's also easier to reduce a single texture map. So, for example, as a character gets farther and farther away from the viewer, the texture map gets smaller and smaller in memory. It's called a MIP map. They'll take the texture map and actually, like, it's kind of like resizing a map in Photoshop, and they'll shrink it down to like a 2K and then a 1K and then a 512 and a 256 as it goes back farther in the distance. And so it's just easier to do that to a character if it's one map instead of having it be several maps. Now, Cody's asking about hair alphas. Is it okay to put them on separate map? It is sometimes. So hair and anything with alpha is a specific case. So another specific case is anything that's double-sided. So like, say, a cape or something like that. If you want to have a thin cape that is showing the same texture on both sides, you don't want the entire character to be double-sided because that would be expensive. So if you have a cape like Syndrome's cape or something like that, the cape itself would have its own separate quadrant, its own separate map, its own separate material, because then just the cape would be double-sided. It goes the same with the hair. Since the hair has alpha, it's being alpha'd out, you would make a material specifically for hair or specifically for something that has alphas. Does that make sense? So it would cost less because you wouldn't want to put that on the entire character. Also, hair is very specific and special because it's typically shaded with an anisotropic shader, which is a special specular light that goes across the hair. And you don't want to have that on your entire character either, if that makes sense. So hopefully that brings a few things to light. Now, I just wanted to show you and talk to you guys about just straightening UVs. So you can see that this is kind of, it's not straight. It's semi-straight, but it's not perfectly straight. So what you can do here is you can set these to faces. So basically what I'm doing is I'm holding down Control, right-clicking, and going to faces, and then to faces. And it will basically change my entire UV selection over to faces. And then I just go, this time I'm holding down Shift. And then, let me see. I'm trying to remember where it's at. I always forget. It's under a line right here. Let's see. It's been a long time since I've done this. Straighten. Where is straighten? I was just doing it. Maybe I have to be in UVs. Hold on a second. Oh, there it is. Straighten UVs. Bam. Okay. So if I hold down Shift, right click, and go right here, it's straighten UVs. And for some reason, it doesn't always work if I have UVs selected. It's just strange. But you can see now that it's straight. See, perfectly straight. I don't know, Sean, maybe you can tell me. I don't know if you can do that in 3D Code or not. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But now what I can do is I can double click on the next one and just hit the keyboard G, like G as in George. Hit it again and it's going to do the same thing and make it straight. And what's cool is I can grab both of these by holding down Shift and double clicking, and then I can go to Arrange and Layout and hit Stack. Let's see. Yeah, it's just Stack and Orient. And that will stack both of them together. I think it's... It should have flipped it. It looks like it flipped it the other way. Oh, you can straighten them inside of 3D Code? Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, you'll definitely have to show me that. because I would actually prefer working in 3D Coat. But let me see if I can get it to go. I don't know why these aren't stacking well. Anyway, I can do this again and hold down Shift. Now sometimes when you do straighten UVs, sometimes it'll give you grief a little bit. Like say this, for example. I'm going to switch over to UVs and click these offenders right here because they should be lined up. And I can just go under Align and Snap, and you have these alignment tools right here. And you can see this one right here. And you can click on that and it'll straighten them up. See, I'll do it again. See how they're kind of separate apart? I'm going to click on this Align button, and that's going to align all of the UVs and snap them all together. If that makes sense. And I can go through and do that to all of these too if I wanted to on this strip. But let me see if straighten's going to work on this one. See, I was getting an error. There it goes. It worked. I was getting an error before saying it wouldn't work since I had UVs selected, but now it's working. And sometimes it could be because I had symmetry turned on. Symmetry will do kind of bad things sometimes. But so now these are nice and straight UVs. Why do we straighten UVs? The reason why is because it's much, much easier to pack straight UVs into a quadrant than it is if they're all curved and crazy, right? You can let the you can let the packing, auto packing thing do it for you, but it's much it's much better. It's not easier. It's much better if you pack your UVs by hand. And you're saying, so won't textures get warped if you straighten the UVs? They won't, because we're projecting. When we bake the maps, we're projecting. So it will look warped in Photoshop, but it won't look warped on the model, if that makes sense. You don't want to warp something too crazy, but yeah, you can. You will. It's easier to straighten. It's easier to edit. Yeah, and another reason you want to straighten the UVs, well, for Blizzard anyway, is that every time I go to full screen, I'm like, man, I better remember. I'm gonna forget and not switch back, but I'm gonna try to remember this time. So when I was doing stuff for Blizzard, I talked about I can't remember when I talked about it, but they use these. They're called top-down gradient maps, and you can use them in Substance, where the very top of the character is light and the very bottom of the character is dark. Okay, and it's like it uses a world space normal map. It's the Y channel of the world space normal map. So if you generate a world space normal map, you take it into Photoshop and you get rid of all the other two channels. You know, there's that channel tab inside of Photoshop you can click on, go to the channels. There's like, it's like RGB, I think. Is it RGB? Anyway, it's the green channel. You'll see it when you get rid of the other two channels. It's just a black and white channel that goes from the top of the character to the bottom of the character. And you just get rid of the other two channels and it'll just give you that map. And Substance will just make it when you bake out a world space normal map. And there's also, it's called different things in different programs, but that's essentially what you're doing. So what you want to do is you want to orient your UVs so they make sense on your map, so the gradient will go from like top to bottom in your UVs, so you can look at it in Photoshop and go, okay, this makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's RGB. There you go. So it's like it's a green. You want the green channel from the world space normal map. Okay, so all right, I remembered. So straightening trades off consistent texel density across the face and better packing of islands within the UV space. I couldn't have said it better myself, Stu. Thank you very much. Yes. So that's exactly what happens. You give up texel density. And I'm glad you brought up texel density, because a lot of people probably are like, what is that? That just means the space allocated to, well, inside of one of these quadrants, that the U and the V, that's a texel. Like, what am I trying to say? you can only show so much in a pixel when you're looking at a game, right? And a texel is how that UV gets spread across the surface of a character. I should probably look up the definition of it of that. But basically, when you hit, I'm going to try and see if it's. I'm trying to remember where it's at in here. Distribute, range and layout. Trying to remember where it's at. Yeah, vertex to pixel ratio. Kind of. Trying to remember where it lives in here. Transform, rotate, scale. Okay, here it is. Okay, so it's under tools, rotate and scale. You can see it says texel density. Yeah, pixel or unit. And what you can do, it's really cool. Yeah, it's probably better to explain it via the UV checker pattern for sure. I don't know. I don't know how we're not in 3D Coat, so I can't just automatically assign it, and I don't have one ready to go. So, okay. So you can see this right here. I can get the texel density from this piece, and then I can double click on a different piece and say set. And did you see it shrink a little bit? That just made it, the two of them match texel density. That just means that if I took a grid, like a checkerboard pattern or something like that, and I put it across the entire character, that would make that checkerboard texture be the exact same size all the way across the entire figure. Okay? But when it comes to a face, okay, you want to give it more texel density, usually, than the rest of the character. And that's something that, I don't know that I mentioned that in the workshop, but if you double click on this face and scale it up, you should try and give it more resolution in your texture map. And that's why it's better to kind of arrange things by hand when, yeah, you hate eyeballing the checker sizes. So that's what you can do, is you can grab one of these and you say get, so you get it, see how that changed. And I could actually grab all of this and say set, and watch it when I click it, boom. See how everything changed? That is because the texel density was off in this character. Modo should have something like that. It should. The little checkerboard in the top menu, this guy, Jace, UV editor. Tell me which one. There's a lot that look like checkers. Is there one now that I can just say display a checker pattern on him? View, wireframe shaded. Okay, well, PST. Maybe this guy? I don't know. Anyway, I'll let 20 seconds will go by and then you can tell me. And when I go to hand pack UVs, what I will typically do, and 3D Coat is better at this than Maya is. I'll just say that. If you turn on the map and the checker. Okay, well, should be the black and white icon, this guy? I can't remember. It's been so dang long. Anyway, I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, that's a good way to check out how your texel density is doing, is by applying a texture map. What I usually do, well, in 3D Coat I just turn it on, and I'm sure there's a way, I just can't remember. And you guys, but thanks you guys for trying to help me out there. So what I usually do when I pack UVs, after I get everything oriented the way I want, I kind of ignore the quadrant, and I just take the biggest piece, the biggest island, and I put it up in the top left of any quadrant. It doesn't matter. And I just kind of hover it in there and pack it up in there. And then I'll just grab the next one and I'll look, because sometimes you can mirror UVs, and you can, what mirroring UVs does is it shares the same texture across two islands. That's all mirroring does. So you've been in Maya for so long. Yep, there's nothing wrong with Maya. Like I did that entire skin inside of Maya. It's been a while since I did. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to get the next largest island and pack it up in there close, but not too close. You don't want it to be like this. You want to leave a gutter on the left and a gutter between pieces. So between edges and between pieces. You know, I used to not like Maya's UV tools until they came out with this UV toolkit, which was in 2000. Did it start in 2017, something like that? This makes UVs inside of Maya like usable again, I feel. And then I also downloaded this this easy UV mapping plugin that makes unwrapping inside of Maya very, very similar to 3D Coat. So it's very similar. I just need to learn the rest of the tools, like the alignment tools and things like that in 3D Coat. And I've also been wanting to try doing the UVs in Blender. I don't know, you Blender people, how UVs are in Blender. I've heard they're pretty good. So anyway, you'll also want to align these things and straighten some of these out. So you can see this piece is not straight, right? So what we can do, and I only recommend this if the studio you're working for wants you to do this, okay? So let me I'm going to turn on symmetry again across the object, okay? And then I'm going to go to scale. And what I did is I hit B for that's just the hotkey for fall off, but it's like the brush for the brush size. And then if I hold down B and drag, it's like a fall off. Can you guys see that? It starts at yellow and it falls off to red and then black. UVs in Blender are pretty okay. So then I can kind of push these out, grab this one, push them out. And yes, this is stretching the UVs, but it will allow it to align a little bit. So I can then turn this off. I'm going to turn off symmetry because I think that's what was giving me the error. Then I can go and do straighten UVs. This is going to look like crap. Yep. So you can see how straight it makes them. And maybe you don't want that. So you might just want to do a certain area. Like I think you can just grab a section and straighten the UVs in a certain section. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so you can just straighten them in different areas. And then use the align tools and everything like that. Gosh, I really wish I could show you the UVs for Zenyatta. I do most of your UVs in Blender, but though I can't say it's the best. Yeah, you might want to try 3D Coat, because 3D Coat, it's only $100 you can use the student version and just learn all the UVs. It's for the the cheaper version. It works just great. Anyway, then you can just grab each piece and move them and rotate them and kind of pack them in. Try to keep them aligned like this to the world. And then when you get over to this other edge right here, you're going to run out of space, and it doesn't matter. You're just trying to keep it. You're trying to keep it a square the entire time, and just kind of ignore this bottom right-hand side of the quadrant, because once you get it to a certain point, you're just going to grab all of your UV islands and then shrink them up into that square. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to keep everything as a square as I go. And this one is going to be mirrored, so I'm going to stack it on here. Let me see if I can do that. So, Jason, maybe you should be teaching this part. It's been so long since I've done it. Like I said, 3D Coat just does such an easier job of stacking. It's essentially you hold down Control-C to copy, and then you pick the other island, Control-V to paste, and it pops right on there. It's really nice. So, but anyway, this one is like you do the arrange and align stack and orient, but see, it just doesn't do a good job. Orient to edges. I just want to stick them together, but I have to flip it to be on the other side. Yeah. Anyway, Jason, maybe you can tell me. There it goes. That's a little better, but still it's off. Anyway, something like that. Maya doesn't have a relax UV tool like Max. It does. Yeah, you can relax UVs. It just doesn't, and it now has pinning where it didn't have pinning before. Are there rules of thumb for when not to straighten edges in UV space? I've seen it help a lot when including decals or text on a surface, but are there times it hurts more than helps? So the only time it really hurts is when it's gonna skew it like crazy, like or on an organic surface like a hand or something, where it's just gonna really twist it and, you know, make it not work if it's straight versus curved. Like I would probably go through and straighten this up. I'm gonna try and see if I can get, maybe I'll get a portion of Zenyatta to show you guys. Maybe I can avoid getting the NDA boss slapping me from Blizzard. If I can just show you some of the stuff. My full intention is to do, is to lay out the UVs on Sirloin the way I would for Blizzard. So when we get to that point, you can follow me along, and I'm going to straighten all the UVs that I need to straighten and pack it all like they need to be packed. So follow along with that, and I'll walk you guys through it. But anyway, that's essentially what I would do. This one I straightened up like crazy. So these are his pants, and you can see you can straighten those right up, and how easy they are to pack because they're straight. So I can fit that right along this edge and right along this edge. They're really easy to pack in there. So anyway, you just kind of align them all, and picture these all being sort of square. It just makes it really easy and really nice to pack. Right, Sean? Yep, Blizzard's always watching. Yeah. Oh, man. Isn't that the truth? All right. Okay. Yeah, painting, hand painting, and okay, that's a good point. That is where you don't want to straighten UVs is if you're going to be hand painting your object. So that is, hand painting your character is better if you have 1-to-1 pixel or texel density and there's no stretching or anything like that. Because what will happen is as you're painting and you're going around the character, and if you have stretched UVs or something like that on your character, as you go to paint, your paint will start to stretch in those areas and it'll just look horrible. So you want a hand-painted character to be even, have an even texel density and not be straightened or stretched or anything like that. So that's a very good point. I'm glad you guys brought it up. So, all right, later, Corinne. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Allison. So yeah, I would definitely, and most studios still hand paint in 3D Coat. So like my friend Tyson Murphy, he works at Riot and he does hand painted objects all the time, and he hand paints all of his stuff in 3D Coat. So does that. I can never remember her name, the Russian girl that worked at Blizzard, and she's now at Riot. But like the World of Warcraft team, they do all of their hand-painted textures inside of 3D Coat. Because, yeah, it's just really, really nice to paint in there. Which is funny because Substance Painter is called Painter because you'd think you would want to paint in there. But just the way the behavior of the brushes is not quite there yet. I hope it'll be there one day, but it's just not quite there. So when do you do the hand painting? Usually what happens with hand-painted characters, since they're so low polygon, you can just do your retopology. Well, normally, modelers they won't even take it into ZBrush or anything. They'll just build out a low poly model in, say, Maya or something like that, and then they'll just take it into 3D Coat and start doing the hand-painted stuff right in there. But you could do the high resolution retopologize it. And what happens when you want to start hand painting is you can bake an ambient occlusion map, and you can bake a curvature map and a cavity map, and all three of those maps together, if you apply it, even a top-down map like I was talking about, the world space normal maps, you could use that map and combine all of those together in Photoshop or even in 3D Coat and give you a start to help you envision where all the pieces and parts are. Then you can start hand painting on top of that. And what's great with inside of 3D Coat is it has layers, so you can actually paint on a layer on top of that ambient occlusion stuff. And it also gives you other functionalities like layer. What am I trying to say? Layer types of layers like multiply and burn and things like that. You can do all that kind of stuff in 3D Coat. In fact, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but as you're painting inside of 3D Coat, you can hit Control P and it will send all of your textures over to Photoshop. Just like boom, and it leaves them all in layers and everything. It's the coolest thing ever. And then you just hit Control S to save it, go back to 3D Coat, and it'll load all those textures right back into 3D Coat. So you can work in parallel with Photoshop and use all the stuff Photoshop has to offer, come over back into 3D Coat and just continue to hand paint. And what's really nice about 3D Coat is you can paint out all the seams. So all the seams that are created by any of the UVs, you can paint right across the seams, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So it's really cool. So there are two of them. So hold on a second. I'll show you hand paint 3D Coats. They're more demos, but let's see. I'm gonna show you the one from Tyson Murphy. This one right here, the zombie bust. Let me switch back to my screen so you can see. There we go. So this zombie bust by hand painting texturing by Tyson Murphy. This is all done in 3D Coat. This is an older version of 3D Coat, but it's all done here. And what you can see is he starts with the ambient occlusion, and you can see like underneath the chin and all these little pieces. All of that is the ambient occlusion that gives him a start. And what's interesting about the way Tyson Murphy paints this guy is he'll go back and forth on his UV set and on the, see, look how buttery that brush is. That's just like an oil painting brush. It's so nice. And he just goes in here and just starts painting by hand, but on the model. It's almost like painting a collectible figurine, like a Warhammer figure or something like that. It's literally, you're just painting right on your model. And you can see how how his wireframe looks. Let me go back. Back there. Let me see if I can pause it. And it's full of triangles. Oh, there he goes. Okay, so it still has some. It sort of has rings and things like that, but you can see that the retopology is only there to define the shapes and the silhouettes and the form. And he's going to let the paint do all of the surface detailed description. Like it's going to describe the surface. So yeah, you can see all the teeth in there and all that kind of stuff. And you can get to those teeth by painting just on the UVs. Inside of 3D Coat is really nice because you can flip over to the UV view and paint on there. And you can paint on the actual model itself. You can go back and forth. It's really, really nice. But what's interesting about the way Tyson does it in this video is this ends up as a green ogre, but it starts with a skin-colored ogre. So, yes, I really want to get an interview with Tyson. Tyson worked with me at Disney at Avalanche. He was an animator at Avalanche, and then he wanted to get into modeling, so he was picking my brain about modeling. And he's like a triple threat, that guy. He can paint, like he's an illustrator and an animator and a modeler, and he's incredible at all of it. So Tyson's a powerhouse. And he's like a lead artist at Riot now. So this is Tyson Murphy is who's doing this. But you can just see all of the nice, I mean, he's a painter. At the end of the day, he's an illustrator, and he's essentially just doing an illustration on the surface of a character. So, if you have assigned materials from whatever 3D program, you can hide and select specific parts. Oh yeah, are you saying inside of 3D Coat or inside of Maya? I think you can do that in both. But, okay. Then there is another one. Let me try and find it. There's probably more that I haven't seen. Let's see. But there's one more that's a wolf that's pretty good. It's like on Gumroad or something. Maybe this is it. Yeah, it's kind of this bear wolf guy. This is all right. It's not bad. You can see the ambient occlusion that you can get going to help you start with. And you can also paint in black and white to get your values and then paint the color over the top of it. It's just, yeah, if you want to learn how to hand paint characters, 3D Coat is a fantastic place to start. So, anyway. All right, let's get back to that. So, essentially, I know I didn't go super deep with the UVs, but I'll get you guys some examples of some nice layout UVs, and I'll be laying them out, like I said, with Sirloin as we go. So, hopefully we'll get there. And I did you guys a disservice with the workshop with Kate because I split off the materials in a few. I didn't do what I'm preaching now because, like, some of the older game engines, it didn't really matter that much, but in the newer ones, they want you to have them all on a single texture. Like I said, it just depends on the company or on the freelance job or on the contract job. Ask them how they want it delivered. Do you want all this whole entire character on one UV map, or do you want it split? Do you care? Just just ask them. It just doesn't. I know he needs to share more. That'd be awesome. Okay, so let's head over to ZBrush and check out Daniel's model. Daniel, are you here still? You checked out the UV straightening in 3D Coat? Oh, awesome. Okay. So let me check this out really quick. So I just want to look at the reference again. So here's the reference, if you guys could remember. Just checking it out. So he was wondering about the stitching on the belt. So the stitches on the belt is it's surface detail, right? So yeah, it's looking good. Okay, so let's grab this belt and we'll do some stitches real quick. Let's take a look. Come on, there we go. Okay. So first of all, we'll probably want more cuts across. So the density of this belt is good, but the density of this belt we need more. So especially if we're gonna do some detail here. What are you saying, Angelo? I missed your question, sorry. When using a hairbrush with a curve path and you lay down a few curves, is there a way to go back to previous curves? No, there's not, unfortunately, Allison. Or Angelo, I would watch. I actually went over this on Wednesday's live stream, and I did a demo and showed you exactly why and how it doesn't work. And then watch. So Danny Mac has a video that's all about like why he likes to do hair in Blender versus ZBrush, and that is exactly why, is because you can get back to that curve and re-edit it after the fact. After you're done, you can go back and mess with it. But at the end of the day, he's like, but I don't like to go out to Blender. I just stay in ZBrush, so I just deal with it. So anyway, yeah, just watch the very last episode of the student-only live stream with Sirloin. I talk about that exact question. So, okay. So let's go. I'm So I'm just going to turn off dynamic subdivisions right now, and then I want to insert more density in here. I might Z-remesh it just to see if we can get it where we need it to be. Let's see. So I'm gonna give you guys a lesson really fast in how nothing is the end, I guess. Like you can always go back and change it, no matter what. It doesn't. You never have to be married to whatever you've built. You can always go back and redo it and change it and just try different things. So since I'm gonna try something different with this belt, I'm trying to get more density in this guy. What I'm gonna do is duplicate it. Okay. Hey, what's up, Daniel? So basically, I'm going to hide the thickness and delete hidden, so it's just a single. We can turn on double, just so it's single thickness here. And then I'm just going to run a Z-remesher to see. I'm going to change it to 3, see what it does. Nah, it's not good. Let's do like maybe a 0.1. Too low. Getting closer. Maybe a 0.5. See what that does. That's going to mess up right here. So what I'm going to do on the end right here for a second is I'm going to push this back to being square, and then I'll pull it back out after it's Z-remeshed. Okay, and I'm also going to subdivide it once, maybe twice, to give this a smoother thing to follow, because the Z-remesh was actually following that chunky surface. So let's try it now and see what it gives us. It still didn't give me a clean end. One more time. There we go. That's better. Okay, so this new Z-Remesher 3.0 is really nice because see how it's giving me triple down here and like 5 up here, which is, it's fine. That works. And I can come in here and just kind of clean this up and then pull it out again like the way it was. Something like that, right? And then just kind of smooth this to match. Okay, and then I can just add thickness to it again really easily. We'll put them both in the same poly group so I can add thickness together. Go to the Z modeler, hover over this, go to extrude, polygroup all, extrude it back out. And see, now we've built our belts again, and now we have even topology across there. So if I do a groups by normal, because I want the tip of this belt to be in its own group, and I don't really care about what's going on back here, but yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking at this topology right here because I didn't clean that up because it's hidden. There is no spoon. Everything is recoverable. Okay, so now that I have that, I can just put, I'm going to change the crease level to 3. So we go to creases, change this crease level to 3. Okay, and then crease polygroups, and that's going to put a crease around everything. And since I'm going to do, all right, you taking off, Jace? All right, take care, man. Have a great weekend. Okay, so I'm going to add real subdivision levels. So Control D, and I'm going to subdivide it. I'm looking up here, active points, to about 1 million, 1.32. Okay, so now we have real subdivisions on here because we're going to be doing surface detail. Remember I said save surface detail till the very, very end. And so this is considered the end. It's time to do surface detail. Okay, so I might even take it higher than 1.3 million. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the stitches, okay? Now, I used to have some stitch brushes in here that I got from Ryan Kingsland. There we go. So you can go to the Insert Multi-Mesh Repository, that's what it's called, and just look for stitch brushes. So let's look up, you can just do ZBrush stitch brush and just find some. There's so many. There's some that cost and there's some that don't. It just depends on the stitch you're after, what you're looking for. And you can do this in Substance Painter. You can apply your stitching in Substance Painter, which is fine if you're just going to do a game character. But if you're going to 3D print it, you're going to have to sculpt it in, okay? And it doesn't matter either way if you sculpt it in or not. I typically like to sculpt it in because maybe I'll print it, maybe I won't. The difference is if you do it in Substance Painter, it makes it more editable. You can go back in there, you can edit it, it's nice, it stays, and you know, if you have your stitch in the wrong place or it's not strong enough or whatever, you can always go back and edit it. But if you sculpt it in, it's not as editable. So you'll have to probably redraw it if it's bad, okay? So anyway, you can just see there's tons and tons of stitches that people have made. And so what you'll want to do is just find a stitch that you like. And then you can cheat. You can cheat. So we're going to cheat. Instead of, and I've shown this before, but I'm going to show it again. So what I can do is I can go by here and just draw this out, right? But you can tell that it's kind of hard. It's difficult to make it work and to make it like line up or whatever. So what we can do is we can use the geometry that's here. I'm going to go down I'm going down in levels, and then we're going to reassign some of these polygroups because I only wanted those polygroups to be temporarily there for me to use to put my creases around, right? But now what I can do is, let's say I want to put these stitches along this border right here, and then along here, and then along here. So now what I can do is go to Select Lasso, and let's clear out some of these. I'm just trying to just show this one right here, and then I'm going to put it in its own polygroup. So I'm going to go around the back and hide that one. And then for this one on the bottom, these are not close enough to the edges. So what I want to do is I can either insert another thing, or I'm going to slide it. And it might not let me slide it because now I have subdivision levels. I might have to kill those subdivision levels. So let's see if it'll let me do it. Yep. It's like, nope, you can't do it. You can't. Okay, so let's go back. Back to before I did any subdivision levels. Okay, we don't have any. And what we can do now is I just want to make new polygroups and slide these guys. I'm going to slide this one up, slide this one down, because that's where I want the stitches to be. And then I'm going to insert another edge loop just for fun to have right there. And then I can hide, well, that's what I wanted to do before. So now I'm going to do the crease level 4, crease polygroups, subdivide up to about 1 million, 1.3 million. Okay, and then go back down, Shift D. So I still have subdivision levels there, but it's not going to matter. Okay, and then I can hide this, hide that, and then hide the top and the bottom, and then go auto groups. Sorry if I'm going a little fast, but you can kind of see now that now I have the center yellow and I have the center pink. Okay, so now if I isolate those, I'll hide them. Then if I hit Control W, I can put everything else into its own polygroup because that's all I care about. And then invert the selection, hit Control W again, and that will put these two in the same polygroup selection. Okay, so can you guys see that now? What I've done, I've basically surrounded the belt with well, I've separated it into sections. So now I can go up like this. And with this stitch brush, you can turn any brush you want into a curve brush, okay? Just by turning on curve. So if I go to brushes and I go to stitch, let me see if there's another one. I'll just use this, basic stitch. Okay, so it's not a curve brush right now. That just means when I draw it, it's not gonna make a curve on the surface, right? So what I can do is just go to stroke, go to curve, turn on curve mode. Now when I draw it, it's going to have a curve, and I might have to drag it. There it goes. So when I drag, it's going to start adding those stitches. Can you see that? But I need it to be a bigger brush. I don't know why it's drawing it so small. So this stitch brush is not meant to be a curve brush, obviously. It's putting them too close together, like how much it steps. So let me try and turn up the steps, see if that works. It's hard to see. It's still not doing a good job. Weird. Okay. So I should probably go get a curve brush. But what I'm going to show you, once you find your curve brush, I'm not going to sit and go, I'm not going to get one and watch you guys, have you guys sit and watch me go surf for a curve brush. But what you can do now is you can go to this stroke and then go to curve functions and then hit frame mesh. And you'll notice that it puts, oh, it actually put, okay, that's weird. I didn't think it would put it on the creases, but it did put it in between these sections right here. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want it to go around the borders. Okay, let me see if I can get it to work. Oh, okay, border polygroup creased edges. So you can say what you want it to go across, okay? So I just want it to go around polygroups. So hit frame mesh, and now it's going around polygroups. You can see that. I don't know why it didn't go around this polygroup. Let's try it one more time. I'm going to do it around borders too, I guess. Stroke. Yeah, this is very, very powerful to do it this way. Let me go down. Stroke. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it did put it around there. You can see it now. Okay, now what you can do, now that I have everything has borders on it now, what I can do is I can go into any brush that's a curve brush, like say, oh, let's see. I wonder if what these buttons are. Well, like the stitch brush that I made. I can click on that surface. Oh, okay, hold on. It doesn't work with subdivision levels, so let me delete higher. There it goes. Okay, see how it put those stitches? It's actually it's upside down, but it's still there, and you can see how it's running those stitches all along that border, right? So essentially what I can do is I can get a stitch brush and make those stitches go all the way around, and I can change the size of them. See that? Isn't that crazy? You can twist them, and yeah, it's weird. There's a way that you can spin them too around. It's just underneath the stroke or the curve modifiers. Snazzy belt. It's true. Snake. Look at all these snake brushes. I wish it would work with this stitch brush. Anyway, that's how you do it. If I had a stitch brush, let me grab one of these. It's gonna load for a second. Yeah, this, like I said, this is exactly how I created the stitching on the baseball. But you can grab any of these. Well, you have to turn it into a curve brush, but let me see if there's a, that's a mass curve. Maybe zipper. Should put a zipper around there. There you go. Zipper. It's really big. Let's make it smaller. There you go. Now you can see what's happening. So what's cool about this now is say that's what I wanted, right? Okay, I like the zipper. That's what I want. And to make it actually, to keep it, you just click on the surface of your object somewhere. Whoops. Like this. Okay, and then the curves will go away and you'll keep the zipper. And then what you can do is you can take this and put it in its own subtool. So let's do a split unmask points. So now it's in its own subtool. And we can subdivide this, well, not subdivide, but turn on dynamic subdivision levels on this belt. Dynamesh. Whoa, that's weird. Why did it do that? Okay, that's, did you see it go all crunch and weird? Okay, so now we can turn on live Boolean and go to the zipper and turn it to subtract. Turn off solo mode and check that out. It's like, well, the belt's crisscrossing itself right here, so it's subtracting itself out right here. But you can see that the zipper is being subtracted out. See that? Isn't that crazy cool? Look how much detail it gives you too. It looks really cool. So yeah, there's just a whole bunch of really fun things you can do. And you can even fill the zipper with a color and it will subtract. When it subtracts, it will leave that color there. That's why it's kind of gray where the zipper was. But you can do some really cool things with it. You just need to be careful about overlapping objects like this. That's why that's happening. So you might have to pull the belt out from touching it right here, and then maybe put this belt in a different subtool. Anyway, hope that kind of helps. Does that help, Daniel, at all? Does that kind of make sense? Let me turn off live Boolean. So that's kind of how I would do it. I would go find a stitch brush. The other way you can do it is just, you know, draw it by hand around there as well. So let me see. What was your other question? Oh, yeah, the seams on the gloves and everything too. And then, okay. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Yeah, that hair, I can see where your struggle is with the hair, Daniel. It's still kind of like what's going on right there. What I would do, and it's going to be tough, what I would do is kind of think about how the hair originates and resolves. Because right now, it's almost like he's got horns coming out of his head, right? Like these are horns. Like, if you were to if you had hair and you were going to comb your hair into this hairstyle, where would the hairs originate and where would they end up? If that makes sense. Why don't you see my lovely face? Because I was having technical issues. I'm here. Hi, I'm here. I had to make a new scene in OBS. It was just going black for some reason. But let me see, video capture device. I can put myself down in the corner. There we go. This is how it works. Yay, that's why I have that little gray thing there, so I can keep myself out of the corner. All right, there we go. Hi. All right. Have you searched for the old... All right, Elfie, have fun. Take care. Thanks. Okay, this is really nice, Daniel, with the edging, the edge work right here. Yeah, that's all really solid. Oh, I still have my zipper. My zipper brush. Okay. Yeah, this is all really nice. Great job. Yeah, just keep that going. Also try and keep the rhythms going throughout your entire character. So, yeah, I would keep doing this. You know, like I think he's got, let's look at him again. Yeah, like for these panels, I would do something very similar where I would do some of that edge work and stuff. And this edge work. Now, it doesn't, let's see. Like he doesn't really have this edge work in the concept. I like it. Well, I guess it's sort of there. This concept's kind of all over the place, isn't it? So yeah, just keep with that theme. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, yeah, just keep doing that. I'd keep the panels looking the same all the way up, so he looks consistent. These hands are looking pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, just keep going. And you got the glasses working good. Yeah, those glasses look good. But yeah, the hair, I think the hair, I would try and just kind of cut this up into a few more pieces, maybe. Because when it's going down, it's looking good, but yeah, it's kind of... Have you found any other models that are in this anime style that have hair that it's similar to the hair that you're making right now? That's what I would do, is I would find hair that you like, go find a model or something that is in the same vein as this guy as far as his hair is concerned, and study what they've done with their hair and try and match it as far as like how it blends. Like from the front, this looks great. I love these shapes, and like the shapes across his forehead and stuff like that. Those are looking good. But yeah, that back piece, it's just like yeah, hair cards. Mike Black and the all of your hair cards. So maybe make it, I'm not doing a good job, but make it originate maybe closer so it's... So they're both coming from somewhere. You can look at the... Yeah. I'm trying to think of some. I don't know that I have any. Oh, man. So I'm just trying to envision like what you could do. Like something like that. Just to make it look like it's originating from here and going out and down. But I wouldn't cut lines into it like this. This is just me blocking it out and trying brainstorming. And then maybe put more pieces in here. More hair pieces in here. Still keep this shelf as it's going down, because that shelf is working. But it's like... It kind of looks... It reminds me of like this, right? Just like crazy pieces going like this instead of all flowing down and together, and some of them are flipping up and some of them are going this way. And just think about the flow instead of like like, you know, going opposite directions, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's coming along. Yeah, I think as you build out all these pieces, it'll come together super nice. But yeah, I think you're just struggling with that hair. And honestly, I wouldn't put the stitches on the belt until you have all the rest of the pieces built, because maybe you remember when I was talking about build, react. So you want to build all your pieces there, get everything in place, then react. What I mean by react is push everything into different sizes and pieces, and like make sure your proportions are proper and everything is matching and working well. Then put your detail in. Otherwise, if you have to make that belt a different size based on after you get the armor in there, you're going to end up skewing the stitching, if that makes sense. So I would wait until you have everything in place first, if that makes sense. All right. Do you have any other questions for me, you guys? For this week, and again, great job, Daniel. He looks good. But yeah, like I said, I finished up the hand, the brand new hand lesson. I'm wanting to make 2 of them. I got the first one done. I'm just trying to edit it. Hopefully it'll be up within the next day or 2. And then I want to make a character challenge. Not really a character challenge, but a challenge based on hands. So anyway, if you guys have any more questions, please let me know. You have plenty? The seams on the gloves, I do them the exact same way I just showed you how to do them on the belt, but you can, if you want to do them by hand, you can do that too. So let me see what they look like. Oh, are you talking about on the inside right here? Cool, thanks, Sean. So I would just probably, you can put them in a layer or whatever, but just kind of grab another stitch brush, one that's not a curve brush, and just kind of, whoa, why is this so slow? Do you have, okay. Okay, so first of all, dynamic and Dynamesh do not work well together. So don't have dynamic turned on Dynamesh. But yeah, you can just kind of go along and make your glove stitches like that. You posted 3 hours ago? What was your question, Allison? Yeah, Daniel, I need to give other people turns. Oh my gosh. I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy. I can't do it anymore. I can't go full screen anymore because I forget. Ugh. And then it takes 20 seconds for you guys to go, hey. Hey. All right. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, so this is a Dynamesh like this hand. So first of all, you can retopologize this to make it a nicer hand, and then yeah, then you can just kind of go along and make a seam like that, and you can hold down Alt, go along the edge of it, and just kind of pop it out if you want. Same with the other side, depending on the seam that the look of it that you're going for. You can do something like that. Yeah, senior moment. Yep. But you can. It just depends on the detail, right? How detailed you want to get his hand. And when you're doing stuff like this, you can also grab a different material to help you, like this gray material. So it depends. If it's a glove and it has a seam just going down the side of it like this. This is just the detail brush. Also, what you could do is use the chisel brush and get a morph target. So if you save a morph target, so right here, store morph target, grab the chisel brush. And you can grab any one of these right here, maybe this one, and just go along here and make a seam. So that's pretty deep, but what you can do is come back in here and just smooth it out. And then it looks like a nice seam. You can, you don't have to make it that big. You can go smaller. You can make it a curve. And the reason I stored a morph target is because now I can come back, like, say, on this fingertip and continue around the edge. Oh, come on, there it goes. Oh yeah, you were saying that the new Star Wars trailer was posted about 3 hours ago. I saw that, but I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that it was dropped. So something like that. And I would make the you can make the surface more dense too. Before doing this, just so it's not kind of clumpy. But this is kind of nice because it looks like a stitch. Anyway, does that make sense? Something like that? I'm back in the little space. I'm down here. I do need a production assistant. I have this thing. I need somebody just like, see this little thing? These little buttons, that just goes from full screen and everything. I just need somebody to walk through the buttons. Oh man, seriously, I need a grip. Isn't that what they're called? A grip. Okay. All right. What was your other question, Daniel? And anybody else have any other questions? You were saying some kind of a something or other. This thing? Oh, you mean like this? Like, let me out. The yellow piece on his chest. Yeah, like this thing right here. I would just make it like I make everything else, just in layers. I would make, see how it has these layers? Just make each layer a different object. And then kind of like what you've done, what you started to do. Just, yeah, don't make it too complex. Just keep it individual pieces. You could also do it with booleans too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what the functionality of that piece is. It's kind of hard to see from that angle too. But you have a question about the topology brush, but I think it might give it a go again. Might ask next week. Like, what question do you have? I could show you something. Here, let me switch over to it. Not flat. There we go. So like the topology brush. So what are your questions about it? You're trying to draw something out on an uneven surface and an arm. Like, what are you trying to draw? So let's see, like, so we have an arm here. And it just depends on a... You can't get it all the way around. So a trick to that is just, you start drawing, and then just make sure it turns green. See the little green dot before you start again, and it will continue. Then just rotate your camera around. Make sure it's a green dot, then continue to draw. Green. Then when it gets back to this red dot, just grab it and then hover right over that red dot and let go. And it should turn green. And then that's your whole loop. All right, Allison, take care. Thanks for hanging out. And then I usually start and stop my loops at the same. So see how I'm starting this just down the row. Sometimes I'll draw several lines at once and go around them with them. Just make sure you have that little green circle or it's not going to work. You can, but I don't like to do it. Yeah, I don't like you. Yeah, you can do that. So I don't know why. Sometimes it just doesn't work for me. But what you can do, what Keith's saying, is you can start to drag, hold down Shift, pull off the surface, and you can see how it has a ring like that. See that? But sometimes my camera angle, it just makes it so the ring, I can't get it aligned right. So, yeah. I don't know why I don't use that as much. I should use it more. Thanks for bringing that up, Keith. I totally forgot about it. That's a lot easier. When you're making colors for a character, do you make the shirt plus the collar one piece? Unified topology, or is the collar a separate object? I've been known to do both, actually. But what I get better results from making the collar, like physically popping it up like a preppy. I just pop the collar up and build it that way, and then I'll pull the collar down in physical space. So, for example, let me see if I can do the trick on the neck for this guy. See, there we go. It does double across the center, I think. Yeah, I think there's two lines there. That's not good. Okay, let me turn off symmetry. That's because of symmetry. Let's see. Okay, there's one. Now you're seeing me struggle. Let's try it again up here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. Anyway, let me just show you. So I'll split it, and go down the center. If I can keep it down the center, there we go. Okay, I'm just not going to worry about that back part. But basically what I'll do is I'll just bring it around like this, maybe do a couple, and one more like that. I'm not going to do a whole shirt, we don't have time for it, but I'll just do the collar part. Then I'll just make it like this. Okay, I have two green dots. I'm like, why isn't this face filling up? It's because I have two green dots. Ah, come on. There it goes. All right. So, do I ever use Maya's Arnold render? No, I don't. I've never used it. Not saying that I wouldn't, but I just haven't. I've heard it's pretty good. I used to use Mental Ray before Arnold. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to make it a single-sided Just pop it off there, and then I'll just do split to unmask points, arrow down, and here we go. We have it like this. Then I will just manually grab this. We can turn on double-sided. Turn on double. Why is... Okay. And then I'll just manually grab this, these points, and pull it down like a collar. See that? You can turn on topological so it doesn't affect the ones underneath. There you go. Then it's connected, and you just keep adjusting it until it's how you want it. And the lower the better, as far as that goes. The lower the density of the polygons, the better. So imagine this doing it with a lot of polygons. It'd be a pain in the butt. So just keep it low until you need to add more. And then sometimes I'll split this one where the fold is. So I can come in here with the Z Modeler brush now. Let's get smaller. And then just you insert single edge loop. I'll just put it like that. So then I can just get a tighter, rounder, or like a looser round corner. Oh, come on. I can also smooth this. Just holding down smooth. So then we have it kind of bending around that corner better, if that makes sense. Yep, and then that's all you do is just extrude it. So go to Z Modeler, hover, and say extrude polygroup all. And then you can just give it thickness like that. Then you have your collar and your shirt. Easy peasy. And then you can just go and, you know, adjust the collar to be whatever shape you want. You can make it to be, make it be long in the front or wide or whatever you want. It's easy to manipulate that way. Yeah, that work? Cool. Yeah, it's easy. It's like I was struggling with that forever. It's like, well, how do I model the curl? You know, at one point, I even think I did it with the Luigi mini bus course where I just build a collar like on top of the shirt, and it's not connected. It's just kind of sitting there. But I tried it this way, and I like this way a lot better. So easy, just like build it flipped up, and then just pull it down, kind of like a real shirt, you know. So I'm pretty sure they build those shirts with the collars up, and they just sew it together and then pull them down. So of low poly and Blender and ZBrush, yep. Yeah, so Ikaruga, I'm making I'm going to redo that Luigi male bus course with new art and everything, and so you'll have more options. I actually have a whole bunch of heads that Mitch Liao gave me. Liaway. His last name is Liaway. I keep wanting to say Liao, but it's Liaway. Anyway, he drew a whole bunch of heads, and that's the next part of kind of the stylized anatomy, because I'm going to actually really go into the structure of a face and how to build it out, and because there's a whole bunch of different heads and different styles and forms and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, all right, you guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's been almost 2 hours, so if you have any last questions, let me know. And thanks, guys, for hanging out and asking questions. Like I said, I almost have that hand lesson done. I hope I can get it done in the next day or two and get it out to you guys. Yeah, Dutch names are often hard to say. It's true. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff, and I think, yeah, we're getting to the point with Sirloin that I'm about to pose him. I think I'm going to do a few more details on him, and then we'll get him posed, and then we will get him retopologized and UV'd and all that kind of stuff. So, yep. Cool, guys. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. That was in 4 hours. Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time is what GMT stands for. And I guess that's 8 p.m. in London, I think. Is that right? So it's always, yeah, I try and stream at the exact same time every single Wednesday and Friday. So I'm gonna hand us a lesson. Yep. And thanks again, Donna, for doing that. I appreciate it. Awesome. Great stuff. All right, guys. Greenwich? Yeah, Greenwich. I don't know how you say it. Did I say Greenwich? I think I've modeled one of those once. A Greenwich. Meantime. All right, have a good one. See you later. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email to shane.olson@3dcharacterworkshop.com. And welcome all new students. And hopefully you had a good time. And we'll see you next either Monday, if you're there for the Pixelogic stream, or Wednesday for the student-only live stream. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you later.